guys. Welcome back to the podcast.
What's up, guys?
This is the Retro Show podcast with Chris and Butch, or Butch and Chris, whichever order you want to put it in. You know,
B before C.
Yeah, equal opportunity annoyers is what we are. And so we are here to podcast number 3, if you can believe it. We've made it to number 3. And so welcome. Retroshow.net is where you can go to find information about the podcast, podcast show notes, and, of course, links to all of our social media so you can join the conversation and interact with us.
We really want some interaction.
Yeah, we want some interaction.
I mean, Butch is a good friend and all, but, you know.
Yeah, he gets tired of talking to me. He's like, he just gets tired of talking. He's like, I'm tired of your... And then he pelts me with rocks and garbage. But anyway, well...
That came out of left field.
Where did that come from? Anyway, folks, what we're going to be talking... this is just...
off the cuff.
Off the cuff. We decided to do a show on today's episode of just being scary stuff. Scary movies.
Yep.
And TV shows that we grew up watching. Yep. Yes. And so that's going to be the topic. Now, you would think maybe we would wait till Halloween, but that's what you expect. Yeah. And we're always going to be kind of unexpected.
We're like ninjas.
We come out of nowhere. We're like ninjas, so much so that we don't even look like ninjas.
No. Do you remember the ninja game we used to play? Like you're sitting on the couch and all of a sudden you throw a chip.
Yeah.
Like ninja, throwing star and hit somebody in the face with it.
A tater chip. Like this English muffin coming out of nowhere.
He literally has English muffins.
Folks, okay, so let me set the scene. Let me set the scene, people. Yeah, out there listening. We're literally recording. You may think that we're in some fancy recording studio doing this. You could not be any further from the truth. We're in my dining room.
This is the dining room.
It is the dining room.
There are English muffins in here.
And I have a little basket with bread and bread products and tortilla chips over here. And part of that is...
You didn't tell me you had tortilla chips.
I did.
Wonder how that sounded on the microphone.
Yeah, we can't do that and do this too. You want to make... That's like telling people, never listen to this again. Which they may be thinking now anyway. I don't know.
And the scale.
But
scale.
You know, but let me set the scene. That's where we're at. So, dude, what's been happening this week? What's going on in your world?
Man, just trying to make it through the week.
Just trying to make it.
Everybody's working for the weekend. Yeah, dude, that's really and truly. If you think about it, if you get down to the basic drive of your life, and this is anybody. You're working for the weekend, baby.
Lover boy. They were prophets. We didn't know it. Have you seen Mike Reno lately?
I have a question for Mr. Reno if he is listening. Why would you make a song that starts out cranking like Turn Me Loose and you just crank it to the roof and then as soon as the vocals start, you just turn it down?
Yeah.
Because it's a totally different song.
It's a totally different song.
I don't get it.
I know. But maybe Mr. Reno will probably never listen to this.
Probably not.
We're probably not ever.
We love you, though, dude. We loved your music.
Wouldn't it be funny if he did?
That would be awesome.
And he's like, what do you mean I look like Mickey Rooney? Some other dude said that.
Yeah, it was definitely Butch. Butch said it. Wasn't me.
Yeah. Anyway, some introductions, I guess, are in order at this point. I don't think we've introduced ourselves yet. If this is your first time listening, I'm Butch Renfro, and this is...
Chris Curtis.
And we are lifelong friends, and this is the Retro Show podcast, the podcast which is an homage to all things Gen X and growing up in the 70s and 80s, music, pop culture, movies, and whatever. And we're going to be talking about movies and scary shows today. Things that scared us, these scary movies that came out as kids.
I got one.
So go ahead and give me one, man.
Dude, this is going to make everybody laugh, dude. But, you know, we were talking a couple of podcasts back about Saturday morning shows, live shows. But we haven't talked about cartoons, but... Man, I'd get up and watch Scooby Doo every Saturday morning, and the damn Scooby Doos would scare me. I'd get scared watching them because of the scary monsters and stuff that are on there. Yeah, it was always some. But at the end, it was like, I'd get away with it. It wasn't you meddling kids, you know. It was some dude in a costume, but yeah, I'd get scared of that. That was
like Wow Scoob. Thank you. That is my impression of Casey Kasem doing Shaggy.
That was awesome.
Casey Kasem voiced, by the way,
He did.
Shaggy. And who else did he voice?
I've heard
Robin from the Super Friends.
Did he really?
You know, Batman. There's a song by Steve Miller from 1973.
I remember that now, that skit.
But yeah,
That's pretty funny.
Frank Caliendo, if you get a chance, hilarious. But yeah,
That's a funny comedian, too.
that is. Frank Caliendo, look him up, kids. He's funny. He makes me and Uncle Chris laugh.
He's an impressionist.
Yes, and a pretty good one too.
Yep.
So Scooby Doo would scare you a little bit.
A little bit at a younger age.
Okay,
yeah.
so at a TV show, it's talking TV shows. The first one that I remember that really creeped me out that I watched was probably Land of the Lost, because we talked about that. It's the Sleestaks. Sleestaks would scare the bejabbers out of me.
Yep. They scared me too. I mean, it was intense at that age.
I had the TV on, and I would be peeking around the corner of the doorway, or watching through my fingers. You know, when the Sleestaks and stuff.
If you don't know what a Sleestak is, look it up.
Yeah, and when I say Land of the Lost, do not watch that 2009 terrible movie with Will Ferrell. It is an abomination.
Horrible.
It's not the spirit of the show. People.
No offense, Mr. Farrell. We know you're listening to this.
Yeah, we know Will Ferrell does. Yeah, he steals all my comedy. And that's what. No, he doesn't. Probably I do more Anchorman quotes than just about anybody. You know. Which, by the way, Anchorman.
Funny
movie, but not scary.
Jack Black kicking that dog off the bridge.
You know, that's the reason I had a dog after that named Baxter.
I know that.
That's the reason. I was like, that's a great name for a dog.
I do know that.
Baxter. But anyway, scary movies. What's another one that scared you?
Movie or show?
Either one. Just
so
wow me.
You know, back then, you sat around as a family and watched TV. You didn't.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have 2 or 3 TVs in the house until.
What are we, the Rockefellers?
Yeah. Night Gallery.
Oh, dude.
Night Gallery, man, was a scary show.
That was some spooky stuff, man.
Yep. It was a I don't remember what network did it, but it was their answer to the Twilight Zone.
Yeah. The Night Gallery.
But I really liked the Night Gallery kind of better than I did the Twilight Zone.
I did too. Well, it still had Rod Serling.
Did it?
I think so.
I don't think so. I
think
have to
maybe
disagree
it did.
on that one.
Agree to disagree.
Well, we're going to look it up.
So right now, this is where I play instrumental music while Chris is looking it up on his phone.
Just keep talking. Now we're back to I Dream of Jeannie. You're going to have me thinking impure thoughts.
Chris is searching. He is searching. All right, so the night, NIGHT, GALL.
I got it.
Yeah.
Hang on. Hold up.
And? Was I wrong?
Well, no, you were right.
Yeah.
It was Rod Serling, 19. Well, I mean, he died in 75, though.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well, yeah, he died fairly young. But I also think he chain smoked like a,
Oh, so this was like, it says Rod Serling, who had gained fame from an earlier series, The Twilight Zone, served both on the air host of Night Gallery and as a major contributor of. It was created by Rod Serling.
Yeah, Rod Serling.
I'll be doggone. But
Yep.
Man, you are wise.
I am. No.
But I did like.
I'm just old and I know things.
That scared me. It really did. Well, I don't pay attention to stuff like that. That's like my son, man. My son's really into. He's in college now, but he's really into sports and sports people and who does what and who's coaching where and he's like, how do you not know this? I'm like, because when I go to a football game, I don't really care who's running the ball, who's quarterback. I don't care. I'm watching the plays unfold.
I want to see the plays, yeah.
I watch the plays unfold. I don't care who's doing it. Did they execute or did they not execute?
Yep.
And it's usually Razorback football that makes me throw stuff at the TV or get up and walk out of the stadium.
I literally had a little dog one time that used to cower in the corner when college football would come on because apparently I was loud.
Yeah.
And I would say things loudly to the TV.
What dog?
Belle. She was the little dorky. She would cower in the
Belle.
corner. And whenever college football came on, bless her heart. Anyway, something that scared me. Okay, so in the late 70s, there was an adaptation on television. It was a miniseries that they did of Stephen King's Salem's Lot.
Yep.
And there's this one scene.
Oh my God, I know exactly what scene it is.
Kids
and it was horrifying.
Kids on the second floor or third floor of this house.
No. It was ground level.
It's ground level.
Yeah, it is ground level.
And
but
he's got like these windows that that swing open and they're closed. And this vampire kid that he knew in life.
Isn't he the one that he ran off?
Open the
and
door.
He left him behind.
Yeah.
And he got turned into a vampire. Yeah.
And he's like hitting.
He comes floating up to the window.
He comes floating up the window. Vampires can't cross the threshold unless you invite them in. So he's like going, open the window, Mark. Open the window. And I'm like,
don't open the window, man.
Don't open the window. What did he do?
He opened the window.
He opened the window. It did not end well for Mark.
And you didn't. The cool thing about it was, I mean, y'all are if young people, if you're listening to this, but older folks, you'll remember this. They didn't show blood, guts, spit, and ass on TV back then.
It was just scary stuff.
So you would just see him go in with the fangs, and then it would cut to commercial.
Yeah,
that was it. And it was scary.
Yeah,
it's almost like seeing a naked woman as opposed to a woman in lingerie, which I find much more attractive and sexy than just a naked woman.
What about me in lingerie?
I don't know.
I think that causes projectile vomiting.
I'm going to have to gut a hog to get that mental picture.
Yeah, there you go. You're welcome. It's because
do you agree or disagree?
About what?
About that? No. I think it was more. It added more to it.
It added more to it to not have the blood and guts on there.
Yeah.
To have, because you were building up suspense and tension. There was more art to making it scary.
Yeah, I agree. 100%.
Because you're building tension and you're building that fear. And the music they would put in, music has a big part to do with scary stuff too.
I mean, Jaws, for example.
Yeah. Okay, let's go to Jaws. Because how old was I? I was probably
76.
76.
So I was 9.
I was fifth grade.
I saw that in the freaking theater with my uncle.
Yep.
My parents were Christmas shopping, left us with our Uncle Larry, and he took me and my brother to see
Come on,
Jaws.
Boys, let's go see a fish movie.
Y'all, I had turtleneck on, and I wore that turtleneck up around my forehead the whole movie. God, I was scared.
Another example. There was a couple of little gory scenes in there. When
he was looking at the hull of the boat.
Yeah.
Under the water, and he finds a shark tooth, and then that head come floating out.
Yeah, that was...
I had nightmares about that forever.
Dude, I knew in my head, sharks don't live in lakes. I was scared going to swim at the lake. It was
you reminded me of a movie that terrorized me as a young child, too.
Okay, well, tell us.
The Legend of Boggy Creek.
The Legend of which, yeah.
So all you folks out there that are not from this area and listening to this podcast, Boggy Creek is outside of a place called Falk, Arkansas.
Which is south, almost so far south.
Almost Louisiana.
Yeah.
But it's Arkansas. So this was close to home. And it's based on true recounts of people seeing this creature.
Yeah.
It's a Bigfoot basically type deal. And but man, I saw that at 5 years old. And if you watch this movie today, you would be like, oh my God, this is the corniest movie, because it was basically a B movie.
It was very much a B
movie. But the guy wanted to do the movie, and he did. But it was, man, it scared the hell out of me. And where I hunted growing up hunting all my life with my dad, I mean, we're in the middle of a swamp.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting on a stand by myself at 10 years old, and the whole time I'm going, if I see the damn Bigfoot creature, the Falk monster out here, I'm going to need a new pair of drawers. So scared to death the whole time you're on a deer stand because of that. So
yeah.
Don't like to go in the ocean to this day, and still don't like to be in the woods.
Yeah. Without,
armament.
Yeah. Loaded for Bigfoot.
Yeah.
You know what I love about these Bigfoot shows that are on now?
They never find him.
They never find him. It's like, Do you hear him? That squatch.
Now I'm gonna be honest with you, dude.
Yeah.
I am a believer in Bigfoot, and I don't really care what people think. I just think there's been too many reports for hundreds of years on that. Now a lot of people say, "Well, haven't we found one?" Well, you know what? I don't know, but
I don't know.
But Indians were making cave drawings of these people, and
Yeah.
we had a sitting U.S. president write about it in his memoirs, which was Teddy Roosevelt, by the way, and hundreds of reports. I want to see one, but at the same time, I don't want to see one.
It's like, well, it was big and hairy and it stank. Well, that sounds like my Uncle Tommy. It's like, but
it's a true story. I know his Uncle Tommy. He does big, hairy, and stinks.
Yeah, he's big, hairy, and he stinks. But anyway, so we talked about Jaws, which was kind of the first movie that I went to that really scared me. But there's another one that came out that I remember. No, I think this might have been a little bit after I saw Jaws. It was a B movie that William Shatner was in, and it was called The Devil's Rain.
I saw that movie.
And
we probably saw that movie together.
No, actually we didn't, because I remember that I went with my sister, and I think I was sent along on a date with her.
Now that's funny.
As a spoiler. And
if you
I watched that
Dad,
movie.
You would know this is a true story.
But listen, I literally spent most of the movie with my eyes covered, because to me that was just terrible, because devil stuff scared me, man.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I cannot.
It's like The Exorcist.
We're both really Christian guys, so yeah, that's too real.
Yeah.
Too real for me.
It's like The Exorcist.
I've never seen that movie.
I haven't either.
I've never seen that. I've never seen The Omen. I don't want to see The Omen.
No, I don't want to see that either. See, I go to escape.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
That's like, too much of that's too much like documentary. But something else that scared me when I was a kid was, what was the name of that movie? It was of all the funny things. I was in 5th grade, and I went with the movies with Dad to go see. And it was a Sinbad movie. And, you watch those now.
The 7 Voyages of Sinbad?
Yeah, but there was a scene where this person had, like, eyes in their hands. And that freaked me out, dude. I was like, 10-year-old me was like, nope.
Yeah, well,
Dad, we got to go.
That's what happens when cousin... Never mind.
Yeah, that's what happens in some of these places. When the family tree don't fork and the genetics just, they just intermingle a little too much.
A little too much. Got eyes in your hands.
You got eyes in your hands out there, and you got a tooth growing out of your forehead. And, I got constituents with arms growing out the backs. But anyway,
what was that?
That was from Heavy Metal. Chris and I sometimes speak in movie quotes.
Yeah, we do.
And so sometimes you'll just hear one come out of left field.
Great Nyborg, man.
Great Nyborg, man. There's a whole show we could do just on that, on the movie and on the soundtrack.
That was such a cult classic.
Yep. So anything else that scared you? Any other movies?
Man, Friday the 13th came out and it was huge.
Well, but we were a little older.
But the slasher movies just didn't scare me.
Yeah.
At all. It just didn't. I don't know why. It just did not.
The only one that I thought was the least bit scary, which at this point I appreciated because I was a teenager in high school, and that was the first Friday the 13th movie, or not Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nightmare on Elm Street. You know what?
That first one was really, really, it was good. It was like, oh, man, that's actually kind of scary.
It was kind of scary. I'll be honest, I wasn't scared because we were older. We were in high school when that came out, but I remember going back with some chicks to see it, some girls. I can't remember who the girls were at this time, but I fell asleep.
You fell asleep during the movie?
I did. I fell asleep. And you can ask Butch if y'all ever get to meet him and talk to him. I am definitely a movie guy.
Yeah.
So me falling asleep in a movie, it's got to be pretty.
You've been there and done that.
Been there and done that.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Now, some things that were supposed to scare me, but didn't. Let's see. Any of the Universal monsters, with the exception of Creature from the Black Lagoon. There's some legit scary stuff in that movie.
There is, and that, I was going to bring that up a while ago, and we got off on a rabbit hole. But that was a big thing. You remember on Friday nights, they had
after
at midnight,
the news.
Was it at midnight or was it after the news?
It was after the news because
I thought it came on after.
4 days a week. 4 days a week they showed Gunsmoke right after the news. But on Friday nights they had the Monster Theater, and I think that was every Friday night they did the Monster Theater. And
me and my older brother were,
yeah.
Of course, he probably left field when he got home, but
yeah. That's another story. Okay. That's another Monty story. We'll table that for when Monty can actually join us. Yep. But yes, we actually would stay up and watch, and it was all the Universal monsters,
Frankenstein,
and the
Bride of Frankenstein,
and then the 50s like giant monster movies.
Yep, the Blob.
The Blob. Now the Blob was kind of scary.
The Blob was kind of scary, and they did a remake of that in the 70s that I went to the theater and saw, and it was pretty. The dude. Sitting in his chair and the Blob got him. I'll never forget. Of course, it looks like somebody just poured a bucket of slime over his head. Pretty cool. But yeah, but the older ones like Frankenstein and stuff, those didn't really scare me at all. I just thought that they were fun to watch. They were fun to watch. But the Creature of the Black Lagoon, you're right, it's still scary. It's still my favorite. I don't think it's still scary at 56 because I mean they do a good job of building tension, which is they do for a really scary movie. And there is a documentary on scary movies that came out in the mid 80s called Terror in the Aisles, and if you can find it somewhere, good luck. But they had an interview with Alfred Hitchcock in there, and he had already been passed for a while, but he was talking. He had some really scary movies. By the way. But Hitchcock was talking about how gore was not scary. He said, let's say that you have the premise that someone has a bomb under the table, and they're talking, but the other person doesn't know, and there's a clock counting down. Well, now you've created tension. And so, that's the whole thing, is creating tension and when to have the jump or the boom or whatever you have to make something really scary. Probably one of the most famous horror movie scenes ever with the shower scene in Psycho. Yep. And all you see is the knife rising and falling, and you can hear it. And her screaming, and then you see the drain and blood going down the drain. Right. So you know what happened, but it... Interesting story. They shot that in black and white. Mm-hmm. That was actually chocolate syrup because it wasn't in color, and they used that. That's cool. To be blood going down the drain. So, Psycho. It's very much a good one. And actually, when we were in college, which. There's a whole other bunch of stories about when Chris and I were in college, but again, there's a time and place for everything. There's a disclaimer. Yeah. None of it's really true. We lied about all of it. We lie a lot. There's a time and place for everything, kids, and we called that time college. But the whole thing of building tension and stuff like that, and that's what Creature from the Black Lagoon, which leads me to my little rabbit. So, folks, I've worked in television on and off for radio and television for a long time. And when I was at a commercial television station working there in Little Rock, Adam Blade. It's an old radio name. There was I saw this older lady in the hall. And I said, can I help you? And she said, I'm looking for the studio. She was the female lead in The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Really? Yeah. That's interesting. Yes. And it's like, I didn't, she was like 80-something years old. I didn't recognize her. And I was like going, that's cool. And I wish I could have gotten a picture because, my son, Brad, Brad's my oldest son. He is a big-time Universal monster movie fan. And he would have just thought that was so cool. Do you remember we used to put together models when we were kids. Yeah. But you could buy the Universal creatures and put them together. Me and my brother had all of them. Oh yeah, you could get the Wolfman. They were like little vignettes. They'd like be like in a graveyard or running with a big tree behind it or something. I think the Wolfman had a big tree behind it. That's probably where Monty started his teenage years, was with that Tester's glue. Folks, if we could just tell the stories, but alas, we probably shouldn't. Once again, I can't think of anything else that really stands out as scary. Now later in life, huge sci-fi fans. I mean, I was 10 when Star Wars came out. Good Lord.
Oh, yeah.
The greatest movie in as far as my childhood went that was ever made. It was unbelievable.
That was such a huge touchstone for all of us at that time.
So sci-fi has been in my blood. Actually, before that was Star Trek, but Star Trek didn't even touch Star Wars as far as special effects went. It wasn't even close. But then a movie came out, and I think it was in the late 90s, maybe, Event Horizon. Event Horizon.
Yeah.
And we thought it was just a deadgum space movie.
No, it's a horror movie.
It is a horror movie, and I got about 30 minutes into this movie, and we've already stated, disclaimer, I don't do devil stuff.
Yeah.
And literally, this ship has folded space and gone to hell and come back and brought stuff with it. And I'm 30 minutes in this going, I don't want to watch this anymore, man.
I don't like this, Mom. I want to go home.
But an interesting movie that I'm going to bring up that you and I both saw when you were in living in Hot Springs came out, and we went to the theater and saw it. I told my kids not too long ago, we were in downtown Hot Springs, and I said, I saw Aliens with Butch in that movie theater.
That old Malco movie theater.
Yep. And that movie was awesome.
It's a great movie. One of those movies that we could do a topic on sometime where the sequel was better than
definitely.
the first one.
What made that movie for you?
Okay, so the first big jump scare of the movie, you know what it is? So the Paul Reiser character, the guy that Paul Reiser played, he's looking at one of the face huggers is in a jar.
Yeah.
And he gets his face up close, and all of a sudden the thing goes right up next to it. That's the first big jump scare. That's also when I lost most of my popcorn the first time I saw it, because it just went straight up in the air. So yeah, that first big jump scare in that one is really good. But you talk about building tension. That was almost claustrophobic. That kind of tension. Yeah, because it was everything was enclosed.
The really cool thing about that movie, though, was the Colonial Marines.
Yeah.
That was
game over, man. Game over.
And he's the one that made that movie for me.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton in that movie was freaking hilarious.
Bill Paxton, if you look at this, Bill Paxton was a great actor.
He was an excellent actor, man, but he always played a douchebag.
Yeah. You mean, Chet? You're stewed, but what? Yeah.
He pukes, you die.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton made that movie, man, for me, because he's standing there with his armor smoke, and they've just gotten half of them killed, I think, from the aliens attacking them, and that Sigourney Weaver looks at him and goes, "Hey, this little girl made it here longer than that. We'll put her in charge, man." I never will forget that. It was awesome. Awesome movie.
But yeah, the slasher flicks, like you said, not scary to me. The only one it came
entertaining.
Close. Yeah, entertaining, fun to take a date on.
And they were always rated R, and they always showed.
Yes, this is hi folks. This is the part of the show where we have to explain that there's children present. I'll tell you, but you talk about going to movies and stuff like that. Now, if you folks never had a drive-in movie theater in your town, I'm just going to tell you that you're missing out. That part of your childhood is incomplete.
That's a whole nother episode.
If you did not get to go to, we need to do best drive-in movies, because the drive-in movies, they would show things at the drive-in that they just would not show
anywhere else. And it's usually a marathon on the weekend.
It's usually a marathon. It would go till 3 a.m. Yeah, it was fantastic.
It was so much fun.
But anyway, dude. Well, I had fun on that one, talking about scary things when we were kids.
I don't know that we had a whole bunch of scary stuff that just really, either that or just manly men like Vikings. Not scared of a whole bunch, but the things that we did mention that scared us, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, real quick before we end this episode, I'll tell you something that did scare me that I saw at an early age, that it was a different kind of fear.
Yeah.
But Patton. The movie Patton.
Really?
I mean, I remember crying because I was like 8.
Because it's harsh realities of war and life.
I didn't want to go to war.
Yeah.
I remember telling my parents, I don't want to go to war.
Yeah.
My dad's like, well, son, you're not going to have to go to war. But, we're 2 miles from a nuclear silo. If it goes off, we're going to be the first ones to go. Yeah. You'll never know. I mean, that was my childhood with my father.
Yeah.
You'll be over in a second. It's going to... Rub some dirt on it and get back in the game.
Yeah, rub some dirt. Okay, before we go, I got to tell you about one thing that was scary in real life. Okay, and that was when your father showed up at the house. Let me tell you a story, kids. So I'm living with Chris and his brother Monty, and Monty was supposed to be at work that morning, and Chris and I were supposed to be at college class. And like very many times that morning, the alarm clock would go off, and it went something like this every single time. Chris, we going today? Nope. Okay. And so
they don't make you go to school in college.
They don't make you, and we found that out the hard way, or the easy way, I guess. So anyway, but Monty is supposed to be at work that morning at the flower shop. They owned a flower shop,
a family business downtown.
Yes, and Monty was supposed to be there that morning. Well, Monty was not there yet. Monty sometimes kept late hours. That's how, that's the kind way to say that.
We're back to the tester's glue.
Anyway. Yes, we're back to the tester's glue and other things. But all of a sudden, I hear. So my bedroom window is right up. It's close to the front door. So I hear this right next to the porch. So I hear this vehicle pull up, and I hear the car door slam. Then I hear someone stomping on concrete, and if he could have punched holes through the concrete with his feet, he would have. Then I hear him hit this wooden porch, and kabam, kabam, kabam. He comes up the stairs. And then he busts through the front door and starts yelling at Monty. At this point, I'm up pulling clothes on. Monty, what are you doing laying enough? Get up, boy. He said, yes, sir, trying to get up. I hear Chris start to stir, and I hear him jump out of bed. And the next thing, because I'm right there, I hear him walk down the hall to Chris, and I hear him start yelling at you. Why aren't you in school? And then he gets to my door, and I'm like scared to death now. Door comes open. Butch, I'm just checking on you, son. I was like, I'm doing good, sir. Thank you very much. Have a great day. Don't kill me. You know.
You got to understand. I mean, literally, we had been at each other's house since we were 10 years old, 11 years old.
Oh, your mom would have got on me as fast as anybody.
Yeah, that's a different time.
That's how it was.
Yep.
Now, we can go back in time and talk about how it used to be, kids. But, you know, it was one of those things that neighbors could pretty much get onto you. Yeah, they sure could.
And we're expected to.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember my dad and my mom both telling him, if he gets out of line, just bust his ass.
True story.
Yeah, true
story. Absolutely. Folks, thanks for listening. We appreciate you listening. Remember, you can always go online at retroshow.net. That's .net.
Retroshow.net.
Just in case they forget.
Yeah.
And there's you'll find show notes. You'll find links to anything that we talked about on here.
Wait,
and
we have notes?
We're going to have notes.
Oh, wow.
Don't worry. I got this.
Okay, all right. Thank God.
I got this.
My English.
Because I'm the one that edits this, and I have to listen to it again. So I was like, okay, put that in there. And then, but show notes will be there, and also links to anything that we have there to talk about, as well as ways to get in touch with us, probably on our social medias, which we will have linked there. And to be honest with you, we're going to let you back. We're going to let you see how the sausage is made. You see, what happens is we record all of these beforehand. And so we're recording the first episodes before we ever actually put them out there.
It's kind of the way it's done.
It's kind of how it's done, just in case you wondered. But anyway, we've done, this is our third one, but we've done 3 in one night, and this is the third of 3.
I'm going to tell you something. We were only scheduled to do 2.
Yeah.
And we got done with the second one. I'm like, dude, I want to keep going.
Yeah, it's fun.
And that's why this one was off the cuff, because we didn't have pre-made
no
list or
planning.
Nothing. No,
it's like, let's just talk about stuff that was scary back in the day. But we promise the next one will be planned or not.
Scariest things on the planet: Al Renfro and J.W. Curtis.
That's true story. But folks, thanks for tuning in, and join us next time. We will come back, and retroshow.net. Go there and check it out.
Thanks for listening, guys.
Bye.